Wes, what's up, brother?
Whew, man. Number 3 of 5, racking and stacking.
Yeah, I know. I'm going into Indianapolis a few days after we record this, and I am going to look at the Indianapolis airport when I land because I'm sure there's a control tower with Building Winds Live up on the tower.
If there's not, there should be. I think you're going to meet somebody there too, aren't you?
I am. Who am I going to meet there? I think I might be meeting a couple people.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. I think.
That's right.
Yeah. Do you think we should be a secret or should we let somebody know?
No, we can tell them.
All right. Well, we're going to meet the savvy sales lady herself, Christine Harrington.
Yep.
Been a longtime friend of mine and a client of Wes's as well. And Christine and I go way back. And one of the beautiful things, I always like to talk about networking, right? And hybrid, that's kind of my thing. Christine and I have been friends, which we are for many, many, many years. Followed each other, chat, but we've never met in person. So this will be the first time. And that's the beauty of technology today, right? We had a chat on our rack and stack earlier today with Hannah from Zurich, Switzerland, right? So I mean, it's a beautiful thing when you can sit in your home office, right, or the bunker in New Bremen and the war room itself, and talk to so many great people. And I see there's somebody else there that's a stealer of my food that may be there. So if we do order lunch, Wes Wyatt and his lovely, you know who I'm talking about. Don't be turning around. Don't be turning around. Face the music. Face the music. Stand up. Yeah, I think you and your lovely wife are going to join us, I believe, for late coffee, early lunch, whatever we end up doing. So I don't know that this will happen, but when we get together, there's a tendency to be a video or two that comes out of that. So
yeah, there's usually at least 1 or 2, and sometimes they're fueled by Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper.
They have been,
but that's okay. You know, it takes the edge off.
It does, and don't put us in front of a statue of Urban Meyers, or
because we'll talk.
We will talk for quite a while.
Yeah, and I have proof that you are a Buckeyes fan when you're in front of it, and that's what I tell everybody, regardless of what you are. I tell everybody, I was like, it was Randy's idea. He loves.
Okay, yeah, okay. So we're going to clear that up right now. I absolutely, positively am not, even though I do like to go to Urban Meyers. But anyway, enough, because we got a guy on here that is now a partner with a guy that we've had on before. And so rather than even get into all that now, why don't we just go bring our friend Ray on, because he's sitting patiently in the green room eating our grapes that we paid for. Okay, we didn't pay for him and there's no grapes, but besides that, he's in the green room waiting. So I think we should quit thinking we're so funny and bring on Ray. What do you think?
Funny looking.
Well, we're that too.
Yeah, let's bring on Ray.
All right, let's do it. Boom, there we are.
You have no idea, Randy, how badly I wanted a handful of grapes.
That would have been perfect. You know what?
That would have been funnier than what you guys just did, which was great.
It would have. It'd been great. Yeah, we really could have set that up if we were smart and said, Ray, give us 5 minutes. We'll run to the kitchen and grab a handful of grapes.
Right.
That'd have been perfect. That would have been,
or a glass full of grapes. Right?
Or a glass full of grapes, which I prefer mine in the liquid form. But either way, I Dr. Pepper. See,
quote unquote
Dr. Pepper. That is my code word for a Cabernet. Because I'm thinking very smartly, right, that nobody will know what I mean when I say Dr. Pepper. Unfortunately, I tell everybody it's my code word, but it's because it's fun. But
sure.
But a funny thing, Ray, I don't know how we got on this, but this is where we're going. One time I did a post from an open house, customer open house, and I did this great big bowl. You know how they have the self-serve ice cream, I had peanut butter cup stuff and chocolate syrup and M&Ms, and it's piled up. And I take a picture of it, and I put a picture, and I put like S, a shh, right? Don't tell Dixie, which is my wife, and posted it. And this one guy goes, the Dixie chick. One guy goes, he sends it on, he says, "You just put it on social media. She's gonna know." And I go, "It was a joke. It was a joke." Oh gosh. Anyway, well, Ray, thanks for coming on, my friend. It's great to have you with us today.
Oh, thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
Well,
Great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. And I appreciate all the the stuff you're doing out there. So Ray is a partner with a former guest that we talked about, Gary Bontrager, with Gary Bontrager Consulting, and you and he are now partners. Maybe you have one other partner, I think you told me, in the business, in your consulting firm. And Gary's been on the show a while back, and I was honored to be on his podcast several months ago now, I think it was. And so you guys just do some really good stuff out there, and I just wanted to have an opportunity to chat with the folks a little bit about who Ray is and what you guys are up to.
Oh, no, great. Well, before we do that, I want to ask you, did you keep the hat?
Did I keep which hat?
The Tommy Bahama hat.
You know, two things I messed up on. I thought about sending a picture of that hat to Wes. That had been perfect for him to have popped up. So for anybody that's listening or watching, I did a post with would that be a fedora? Is that what we'd call that? I think.
Yeah, more like a straw fedora.
Yeah, like a straw fedora.
Yes, yeah.
And I put a picture of it on social media and had something to do with, I don't know, something I had to say. And and I said, and urgent, do you like the hat? And Ray, I don't like the hat. I would not buy that hat. I mean, he was just like right to the jugular, man. Unbelievable. So now I got to go back to Tommy Bahamas and return the hat. So,
you know what, Randy? I tell you what, people should be more honest on social media. I'm used to getting lied to. I'm thinking there's going to be like 20 or 30 people going, "Oh my God, Randy, wow, do you look great with that hat. Never go without the hat again." Never go without the hat again.
I was even going to put a feather in my hat.
Okay.
Because we all want a feather in our hat once in a while, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But now I got to take it back because Ray Gage doesn't approve. So there it is.
Yeah. Well, see, as you can see, I have one, right?
You do.
And I only wear it golfing because my wife can't stand it.
Oh, okay. Well,
so that's why I said find a woman that you trust and ask her.
Well,
right?
She was with me when I tried it. I did not buy that, by the way. Okay. I just tried it on at the store because I'm smarter than you think. Because I did look at her and I said, "What do you think, baby?" And she goes, "No, put it back."
I mean, but why? Right? Why? Why?
Because
you thought it looked good.
Well, yeah, I thought, but as good as a hat looks on me, I'm not a hat guy.
Yeah, I have the same problem. That's what happens to me. So I bought that hat when my wife wasn't there, and she sees a picture of me in this hat on the golf course, and she's like, "Where did you get that?" Like, well, I bought it. She's like, "You shouldn't have done
that." Well, we'll get off the hats, but I had on one of those great big wide brimmed ones, right? Well, not that wide, but fairly wide. And that one really got the definite shake of the head and turn around. Like, no. So I thought the little bit more, less invasive might have flew, but that didn't either. So that's all right.
I get it. I just want to bring that up, right?
No,
we're in the entertainment business, right?
We are.
There you go.
Yes, and we entertained ourselves at least, if nobody else. Wes and I do that often, so.
Right. Well, that's important.
When we're together, we're the two funniest people we know. And it's funny up until he's going to go. There he goes again. But we have great fun, and it's really fun in games until he steals my last quesadilla. Then it's not so funny anymore.
No, it's not so funny.
Not at all. Not at all. I was thinking a new director producer one time because I was so irritated. But anyway, just kidding. So you grew up in Johnstown, New York, which is right north of Fultonville. And I'm a little bit discouraged that you told me you thought I just researched that and looked it up. But we proved, because I knew where Logtown Road was, that I knew what I was talking about, didn't we?
You did, but that you're the first person that not from there who has ever said that's just north of Fultonville that didn't look it up.
Yep.
So congratulations. Now I'm going to have to adjust moving forward, right? And I can't make the assumption anymore because Randy proved me wrong.
I did. It's a public service. It's my PS. It's my public service for the day. So living in Fort Wayne now, give us a little history of where you've been and what you've done and how you got to here with Gary in the consulting world.
Right. So that it's actually a long journey because I'm not young man anymore, right? But that's all relative anyway.
Right. Today's hey, 45 is the new 70. I made that up, but still.
Yeah. Okay. So then I'm about 80 or 85.
Well, there's a reason, Gary, that in everything I do, I refer to myself and talk about 4+ decades in the in the industry, because that sounds just old enough to like you've been around a while, so you must know something, but not like maybe I started when I was actually 12 and I just hit 40. See, so it makes it sound younger than I am. So there's a reason, a little vanity there. But anyways, proceed.
Yeah, right. So I'll give you what we call the Reader's Digest version the best I can, right? Because we just keep bantering, and then we're going to run out of time, and we're going to have to, and then Wes is going to want to do. He's like, we're going to have to do 4 more podcasts if we want to get one. Right.
Which we could, in other words, that was a polite way for Randy. Were you quiet? So I got it.
No.
Just kidding.
I love it. This is great. So, as you said, I was born in upstate New York, and lived there till I was about 16. My family moved to Indiana, and I started my career in Indiana, and I've been in Indiana ever since. Why? I don't know. It's just compared to the scenery and the beauty of nature in Fort Wayne, Indiana doesn't compare to anything that we had in upstate New York. And if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about.
Many a time. Right? Beautiful area.
So, but it was more about the people. So I have family there, but my parents, my siblings, they lived here, and then I started my own family here. So this is where my new roots are, right? But I still call New York home. So I got into as far as from a business perspective, because that's what we talk about on the podcast a lot is how life relates to business. And you do that in your podcast, and a lot of podcasts do that. So we'll go down that path. So I started accidentally in the insurance industry, and which is quite honestly the way that most people start in the insurance industry is by accident, right? And I was, so I started it. I bought an agency. I started with an insurance company, then I bought an agency. We built that agency over a period of time, and then sold that agency. Worked for another a larger firm, and on a sales side of things, left that firm, and after 34 years, and started in the coaching consulting world. So that's the overview, right? The broad overview. So the steps to get there, right? There's a lot of steps in between to get there. And I think sometimes I have a tendency to think that nobody really cares about the steps. But then you realize that, there's probably people that do care about the steps because of the things that I experienced along the way. So, some of those things that kind of shaped the who I am today were, I unfortunately went through, I went through a divorce situation, several years ago. I've been through a child with cancer. I've been through immediate family members with drug addiction. I've been through a business divorce. Just all these, a lot of things that people would struggle with and not come back from. Right. And they're, but I think when I think of them, that's just like anything else. You have a challenge in your life, and the challenge seems really, really huge when you're in the middle of it.
Right.
Then you get to the other side of it, and you're, 6 months or a year or 10 years down the road, and you look back on it and you're like, why did that seem like it was as big of a deal as it really wasn't as big of a deal as it was at the time. Right. So it's just the way that we think about it that changes. So as I got to the success, it's like I tell people the story kind of like, I had a situation where, I had, and I don't want to go into details because it's not about why did I, get divorced, for example, right? Because there's no point in getting into the details of that. But it wasn't a great situation. So what did I do? I decided I decided then that I needed to get remarried.
Okay.
Right. That's not really what most people would do right away, right?
Right.
Okay, well, hey, well, maybe we could do this again and it'd be okay, right?
Yep.
So, so we get to, we had a child that, when he was in high school, he had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He survived, right? So that's the other side of the story. But I mean, the whole story itself is a big deal because you went through it, you experienced it, you know what it, from a parent perspective, what it's like to be told, hey, your child has cancer, right? So, we had 2 more children after that. Then, in our industry, there's each state has different organizations that are associations for insurance agencies and so forth. And so in 2017, I was awarded the agency of the year or agent of the year for the state of Indiana by our state association.
Wow.
And
congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you.
It really is.
So then the next year I sold my business.
So it's kind of like winning the MVP and then retiring, right?
Right. So then I sold my business. I went to I stayed with the organization that I went with, and I was basically a salesperson, a sales manager for them. And then in 2022, we had the Christmas party for the organization at the end of the year. I had already joined GBC as a coach, but not an ownership position at that point in time. But when we had my retirement from insurance, because that's what I decided I was doing, was retiring from insurance. In 2022, I was announced as the top salesperson in the organization. So then I quit, basically. So there you go. I'm not gonna be Peyton Manning and hang around after I win the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, win the Super Bowl, go to Disney World, and then retire.
Yeah, it's like if I ever get a hole in one in golf, I'm probably just going to throw my clubs away, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But it doesn't get any better than that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's kind of the opposite thinking. When I think back about it, it's kind of the opposite thinking than most people would have in those situations, right? So you get to the pinnacle, or the what people would view as the pinnacle of success in that arena that you're in. So why not stay there? Mm-hmm. And so what happened for me, though, was about 2 years ago, there was a series of events that, one, there was a gentleman that I knew really well that was in the insurance business like I was. On a Friday afternoon in the summertime, he had a heart attack in his office and he died. And then a little bit later that year, I had a friend that died as a result of an unfortunate hunting accident. And you start asking yourself the questions, right? Like, hey, wait a second here. Am I doing what I want to be doing if my car gets pulled today? Right. And every time I asked the question, the answer was no. And that's scary because I had been doing the same thing for so long. Like, what am I supposed to do next then? So, right. So that's kind of the journey that led me to becoming a coach. And Gary had approached me and said, hey, I think you'd be really good at this. I kind of looked at him cross-eyed because what I didn't understand was, until I actually started coaching, was that I had been coaching for probably 20 plus years, because I worked with primarily business owners on the insurance side of things. Mm-hmm. And I worked with companies that were startups all the way up to companies with over $500 million in sales. Oh, okay. So I had a lot of experience at all levels of business as they grew. And because my focus was primarily on the workers' compensation side of things, which is people and safety. Right. So there's a lot of coaching that was going on from that perspective. So it was a coach / consulting type of a arrangement more than it was anything else. So I had a lot of experience that translated over. I did get certification, coaching certification from Mind Valley. For if you're familiar with them, they have a EverCoach, they call it, division. Mm-hmm. And I did get a certification for a certified business coach, and then impacting leaders. So That's a lot of talking from me. So
no, that's interesting. I think it sets the table for the fact that in an encapsulated version, you're fully and incredibly prepared to work with all sides of business in most aspects of issues they may have, and that's important.
Right, absolutely. And it wasn't just from the perspective of, it was also the perspective of a business owner as well, because I also had that journey. So right. I understood what that was about, owning a business and dealing with employees and, hiring and all the challenges that are involved with building culture and creating leaders and managers and things like that. So that has translated over really well into this new arena. And this was the arena that I felt called to, because there's the opportunity to impact more people on a broader level with what I'm doing now, which is what I'm really passionate about. And I didn't realize that that's what my passion was until I tried it. And I was like, hey, this is it, right?
This is it. So you're now truly loving what you do and do what you love, which we talk about a lot on this show. And I think it's important. That's important to do. So now you're so Gary Bontrager Consulting, which, as we established, you're a partner in now. You guys are business coaches, executive coaching. What would somebody give me the target customer, or I should say client? I just got yelled at on a podcast earlier by a great sales author. Is we talk client, not customer. So once he watches this, he's going to yell at me again. But a potential client out there, who is the perfect potential client for calling you or Gary? Or, as far as a business type, is it any businesses? Are you specializing in an area, or does it not matter to you?
Well, what matters more than it really doesn't matter what the size or type of the business is, because we have coaches that can help a business at different levels. So we have coaches that are really good at entry level businesses and helping them set up their systems and processes and what they need to do to run a business. You're in this community. We actually serve a lot of the same niche right now. So what we find is a lot of the people that are in the niches that we serve are really good at something, right? So they know how to build something really well. They know how to put something together. But they don't really have any knowledge of how to operate or run a business, right? So they have the thing that they do, but they don't get the business side of it. So
got it.
So that's where we really fit in well to start with, is we can help those people. But we also have, the mid-level, with people that have the systems in place already, but they're stuck with, they're trying to figure out, how do I get to the next step with, what do I have to build? Who do I have to hire? And that kind of thing. And then all the way up to, the guys who have quote unquote made it, right? So they've built the business, they've done everything, they get to the pinnacle and they realize all the things that they forgot along the way.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So what really matters the most is not necessarily the type of business, but it's the type of business owner. So the business owner that engages really well with us is the one that realizes that they need help, right? That they've tried everything that's been put in front of them and they haven't been able to find the answer, but they know the answer's there. So, and that's what we feel like we do really well, is we help them discover where that answer really lies. Because the answer to most people's problems isn't out here somewhere, it's in here somewhere.
Okay.
Right. And a lot of times you just need somebody to walk alongside of you with the flashlight to kind of show you the way.
Exactly. So you ask a lot of questions, listen to their comments, listen to their concerns, see what they've been doing. And then eventually, probably with your guidance, a lot of times they'll come up with the answer on their own eventually with your help that they never came up with on their own, because they're already the forest for the trees, right? They can't see what that answer is, even though it's probably there. And with you guys' guidance, you and Gary and that guidance, they probably are able to find that within what you just said is, and I think that's awesome. And so it sounds like guys can at any level. You probably have a little bit of an a la carte service too. Then, I mean, if you want just some assistance in, I just need to set up a bookkeeping system and a way to get, employees paid and a way to onboard employees, whatever. You can start with that, or you could go all the way through the whole, how do you train salespeople? How do you train, your full staff? I mean, you can probably handle it from A to B or any parts thereof, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have coaches. We also have sales coaching that we offer too. We have HR. We have HR assistants with a coach that specializes in HR. We have a CPA. A lot of people have CPAs, but a lot of CPAs don't have a specialty in benchmarking, forecasting, and budgeting. So we offer that service as well through GBC. And we find a couple of common threads that what a lot of people see when they look at a business that's successful, they see their marketing and branding, or they see their systems and processes. They see the culture, right, that they've built. Mm-hmm. They see that they've got the business basics down pat. And they think, well, if I can go and do those things, then I can be successful like that business. But what they don't see is kind of like the iceberg, right? If you look at an iceberg analogy, that's what you see. What you don't see underneath of that is you don't see the individual growth, right? The mindset, right, the personal development. You don't see the leadership development, right? You don't see those things. Right. Those things are what created everything that you do see, right? So unfortunately, what a lot of business owners think that they can go out and do is they can go out and do the things that they see, and they ignore the things underneath that really built the foundation for that business. And so that's kind of our philosophy is let's build it like this, right? Let's build the bottom pieces. So let's get the mindset right. Mindset's 80%. That stuff's the 80%.
Right.
If you're building it, that's 80%. I mean, you can look that up anywhere, right? That's not me making this up. Just Google it.
Right. So, right. The 80-20 works in everything just about, doesn't it?
It's crazy. It is. It's crazy how it does. Yeah. So, like we've developed one thing that I'm really passionate about is we have a leadership program that we've developed, and our philosophy with the leadership program is that it's leading from the inside. So learning how to my capacity to lead others is there's a direct correlation to my capacity to lead myself. Okay. So my ability to lead is not so much external as it is internal. So that's kind of how we built that. We built that course, that leadership course, because at every level, when businesses get to certain levels and they get stuck at a ceiling, the one thing that has to be adjusted at each level is leadership.
Right.
Right. So there's a common thread that runs up through a business as it grows. And so that's why, one of the things that we focused on and we build is the leadership program.
Right. And I think that's so important. And I want to circle back a minute. Something I was thinking about, you said a few minutes ago, and it's kind of I call it the Shark Tank scenario. And you talked about a lot of businesses out there, a lot of small businesses especially. And I don't know if it was which of the ones on Shark Tank used to say this, maybe more than one, but they would tell somebody, you have a product, but you don't have a company. You don't have a business. You got a product, nice product, but without the business around it, it's never going to go anywhere, right? And I'm sure that's probably a lot of very good small and medium-sized entrepreneurs out there that have built the greatest widget ever known to mankind, or can build the best building, the best deck, or can install the best vinyls. Pick a genre, right? But like you said, they got the product and the ability to get it installed. But that's the 20%, I think, is what you're saying. And what's going to kill them or make them successful is capturing and managing that 80%. That's not the fun stuff, because let's face it, getting the sale and installing a house full of windows and getting paid and making some money, that's the glamour shot, right? That's the fun stuff. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to go back in the evening after tucking the kids into bed and work in the office for 3 hours to do the stuff that needs to be done in order to do this again next week, right? And so I think it's interesting that that you focused on that concept and are helping these people to be able to take that product into a true business, a true company. And I don't know if that makes sense, but that seems to be kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you see it, everywhere you go on your travels, you see those people every week, right? That and that's where and if we can help them figure out how to take that widget, right, for lack of a better term, and make a life with that widget, then the business part can be fun.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
So otherwise the business part gets boring and monotonous, and it's harder to get up in the morning. Right. So because your motivation wanes, right? It ebbs and flows. What we want to do is we want to create a situation where people are motivated by their desire. We don't want them to be motivated as much by discipline, because if you have to discipline yourself to do something, then it's easy to fall off the wagon. But if your motivation is the desire that you have, you're going to keep doing it. You're not going to care, right? It's an internal motivation.
Okay.
So
but if you love what you're doing, you'll keep doing it because you love what you're doing.
Right. Right.
Versus, I know I've got to do it, and I made a note to myself that every day I'm going to do this because I have to. That's easy to fall off of because, let's face it, it's no fun, right?
Exactly. And for leaders, one of the things that we teach is your focus. If you want to build a successful business, focus more on the what and the why, right? That's the 80%. Focus more on the what and the why than you do on the how. But what most business courses, what most business seminars, what most books that you read about business, what most people coach about business is the how part.
Right.
We're trying to do the opposite. We want focus on the what and the why part, because if your focus is on the what and the why, the how kind of takes care of itself.
There you go. So as we kind of wind down, because I know we've already blasted away 33 minutes, which I knew we would. Of course, we talked about things besides Dr. Pepper. We might have had more time, but that's me. That's on me. But who knows? Maybe we'll do this again sometime. So you know what would be fun to do sometimes? Here I go. I'm chasing squirrels again. We should get you and Gary on together. That'd be fun.
That would be fun to try to figure out how I would get a word in edgewise.
Well,
I love Gary. Don't get me wrong.
That's true. That's true. But so you got Gary to worry about, because I don't like to talk that much, so I'm kind of shy.
Yeah. I see that. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. That'll be a wrestling match between you and Gary, and I'll just referee. Wes and
we could do that. Yeah. We could do that. Okay. Yeah, we'll wear a striped shirt and you have grapes in the green room, and we'll be good to go.
Amazing.
That's good stuff. So we've got the how to contact you. What maybe parting words for folks that are out there? What is there the one shining moment? I think they always play that at the NCAA championship game, right? I think. But what's that one shining moment? Is there one shining moment that a typical small business owner that we talked about that's operating in the 20% world and not operating in the 80% world? Is there that aha moment for most of them that they should be aware of, where that just clicks one day and they slap themselves side the head and go, okay, I got to call GBC because I'm going to be in trouble if I don't get a handle on this? Or is that very across the board? And it probably is to some degree, but it seems like to me, and maybe I'm wrong, that there's kind of a continuity there of the guys hit a point, the girls hit a point where it's like, okay, I'm putting in widgets all day long and I'm just not getting where I need to be. Is there that one shining moment where people just say, I got to call somebody like you and Gary?
I would say, what we challenge people with is to start asking yourself, what if I only focus on the things that I can control? And really let that sink in, right? And then try to live your life. Just do it for 30 days. Try to live your life with that thought. What if I only focus on the things I can control? And then give yourself, we have this amazing handheld computer that's called a cell phone, right?
Right.
So set yourself a reminder every hour, every 2 hours, every 3 hours, just to have something go off and say, oh yeah, shoot. And what am I focusing on? Right. At the end of the day, do a check-in. How did I do today with that? Right. And not to beat yourself up, right? Because you don't want to beat yourself up about it, but you want to do the check-in, because the more you do that check-in, the more that you have that reminder pop up, the less you'll need it. And the more it'll become part of your thinking. So what usually happens then is when people start to realize how much of their time they're spending or wasting focusing on things that are outside of their control. How many things outside of your control can you change?
How do you control it? Zero, right?
Right, zero. But if you think about it, what do we stress about?
The things we can't control.
The things we can't control.
And most things we worry about are things that either will never happen, or we can't control them, or they're never near as bad as we conjure them up in our mind to believe they'll be, right?
Right. Well, we worry about things that happened, which we can't change because they already happened, or things that we imagine might happen, which we can't change because they haven't happened yet, right? But that's so we end up being stressed, we end up being burnt out, we end up having to use discipline as our motivation, we end up having to try to create new habits because we're focusing on what we can't control.
Love it.
So try it for 30 days, right?
I like that.
And then when you realize how much time you're going to have to work on the things that matter, that's when you need to call us.
Got it. I'm going to make a note here.
Okay.
I'm going to call this, oops, I don't know what I just did there. Ray's 30-day challenge. There we go.
Yes.
Focus on what we can control. 30 days. Love it. Love it. All right. Well, Gary, I appreciate your time. I know you've been very cordial with giving me a few extra minutes even. Appreciate having you on. And
I'm going to give you grace for calling me Gary. I'm not.
Did I say Gary? Ray.
I'm not going to beat you up over it.
Oh man. I'm looking at Gary Bontrager Consulting here on my page.
Fine.
Oh well, next time I have Gary on, I'll call it Ray Gage Consulting, and that'll be fair, right?
That would be more than fair.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Consider done. And then you come on with grapes in your hand when we bring you on out of the green room. Then we're back to even and we're good to go.
We're golden.
Golden. All right, buddy. Any last words, or else I'm going to let you get back to work.
No, I think I really like where we left it there. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. Would love to do it again sometime. Yeah, obviously, we'll wait till we get a little bit farther down the road with some different things. But
we'll do it again. Yeah, we'll look at it down the road again. I don't mind at all having some return guests. I enjoy that. We've done that a few times. So
let me know when you're going to be in the area.
I will do that. I get in the area from time to time, and maybe we'll grab a coffee or a Dr. Pepper or a dessert that I won't let you have any of, but you know.
Perfect.
So perfect. All right, Ray. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Cheers. All right, folks. Did I just call him Gary again? I probably did. Ray Gage with Gary Bontrager Consulting. Great guy. That whole organization brings some really, really good stuff to the table. And if you can use some business consulting, and everybody can, because I loved his 80-20 rule. It's so right in everything. So many people are very good at the little things they're good at, and they don't even know what they don't know, right? And guys like Ray and Gary can really help you out with that. So that's some good stuff there. Remember the 30-day challenge. I'm going to work on that. Look at every day by the hour what we can do that we can control and focus on that. So that's it for now. I'm going to get on out of here. And let me think. There's always something I remind you of, right? Live it, love it, own it, which we ought to do. Love what you do and do what you love. We talk about that all the time. And do not forget this one. Make today your best day ever. Till tomorrow. Cheers, my friends.